As his strength began to fail, and the world around him started to fade into darkness, Kwame thought he saw a figure moving gracefully beneath the waves. It was unlike anything he had ever seen, a being of beauty and light, with long, flowing hair that shimmered like the sun on water. He reached out, his fingers brushing against something soft and warm. Before everything went black, when Kwame awoke, he was lying on the riverbank. So, in the heart of Africa, where the sun kissed the earth with warmth and the rainforest hummed with the music of life, there flowed a river known as Naira. Naira was no ordinary river. It was a place where the mundane met the magical, where the boundaries between the world of humans and the spirits blurred. The people who lived near Naira revered it, for the river was the lifeblood of the land. Its waters nourished the soil, filled the bellies of the fishermen, and served as a conduit for stories, both old and new. The elders often sat by the fires at night, weaving tales of the river's mysteries for the younger generations. And among the many legends spoken of, one story captured the imagination more than any other, the story of Mirembe. The mermaid of Naira, Mirembe was said to be as beautiful as the dawn, her skin as dark and smooth as polished ebony, her hair a cascade of shimmering waves that mirrored the sunset. Her eyes, they said, were the color of the river at twilight, deep and full of secrets. And her voice was the most enchanting sound in all the lands, a melody that could calm the fiercest storm, charm the wildest beasts, and stir the hearts of men. But with this beauty came a curse. Mirembe, though kind and generous, could never fall in love with a human. Should she do so, she would lose all that she held dear, her voice, her freedom, and her place beneath the waves. The river spirits, who watched over Naira, had decreed this long ago, and it was a fate that Mirembe had come to accept, if not entirely understand. Kwame was a young fisherman who lived in a small village on the banks of Naira. He was known far and wide for his courage and skill. Unlike many of the other fishermen, Kwame did not fear the river's depths. He had navigated its treacherous currents, faced down the crocodiles that lurked in its shallows, and even ventured into the forbidden parts of the river where the spirits were said to dwell. Yet, despite his bravery, Kwame was a man of gentleness. He was beloved in his village for his kindness, always willing to lend a hand to those in need. The children adored him for the stories he told, tales of his adventures on the river, which were filled with wonder and excitement. It was this combination of bravery and kindness that had drawn Mirembe's attention, though he was unaware of it. One late afternoon, as the sun began to dip low on the horizon, casting a warm golden glow over the river, Kwame prepared for a fishing expedition. The village was abuzz with excitement, for a great feast was to be held in a few days, and Kwame was determined to catch the largest fish in Naira for the celebration. His mother had blessed him before he left, as was the custom, and the village elder had whispered a prayer to the spirits for his safe return. With his fishing spear and net in hand, Kwame paddled his small wooden boat into the deeper waters of Naira. He had a feeling, a deep intuition, that today would be special. The river was calm, the surface reflecting the sky like a mirror, and the jungle around it was alive with the sounds of birds and insects. But as Kwame ventured further into the river, a change came over the landscape. The sun, once bright and warm, was suddenly obscured by dark, brooding clouds. The air grew thick, and an eerie stillness settled over the water. Kwame's instincts, honed by years on the river, told him that something was wrong. He paused, dipping his hand into the water to test the current. It was stronger than usual, and it seemed to be pulling him further away from the shore. Without warning, the wind began to howl through the trees, and the once placid waters of Naira became wild and chaotic. Waves rose and fell, crashing against the side of Kwame's boat, threatening to capsize it. He fought to keep control, paddling with all his might, but the storm had come out of nowhere, and it was fierce. The sky above him darkened to an almost unnatural black, and the rain began to fall in sheets, obscuring his vision. Lightning cracked across the sky, followed by the deafening roar of thunder. Kwame's heart pounded in his chest as he tried to navigate through the storm, but the river had become a different beast, untamable and furious. A massive wave struck his boat, sending it spinning out of control. Kwame was thrown into the churning waters, the cold shock of the river stealing the breath from his lungs. He struggled to stay afloat, fighting against the powerful currents that dragged him under. He could feel the weight of the river pressing down on him, the life-giving waters now threatening to take his life. As his strength began to fail, and the world around him started to fade into darkness, Kwame thought he saw a figure moving gracefully beneath the waves. It was unlike anything he had ever seen, a being of beauty and light, with long, flowing hair that shimmered like the sun on water. He reached out, his fingers brushing against something soft and warm, before everything went black. When Kwame awoke, he was lying on the riverbank, soaked and shivering, but alive. The storm had passed, and the sky was once again clear, the stars twinkling above like distant fires. He blinked, trying to remember how he had gotten there, but his mind was a haze. His boat was overturned nearby, battered but intact. He felt weak, his muscles aching from the ordeal, but he was unharmed. As he slowly sat up, trying to make sense of what had happened, a strange sense of calm washed over him. He looked around, but there was no one in sight. The river was quiet, its surface smooth and undisturbed, as if the storm had never been. But deep down, Kwame knew that something, or someone, had saved him. He had felt it, seen it, if only for a brief moment. A mysterious figure, a savior, who had pulled him from the jaws of death. But who or what it was, he could not say. The memory was already slipping away, like a dream upon waking. All he knew was that Naira, the river of legends, had once again shown its power and its mercy. Kwame's thoughts were interrupted by the soft rustling of leaves behind him. He turned, expecting to see a wild animal or perhaps one of the villagers who had come looking for him. But there was nothing, just the quiet of the night. He shook his head, dismissing it as his imagination, and began the task of righting his boat. As he walked, his thoughts kept drifting back to the figure he had seen. Was it a spirit of the river? A guardian? The elders often spoke of such beings, but Kwame had never believed the tales. Now, he wasn't so sure. He decided not to tell anyone about it, not yet, at least. The river had saved him, and that was enough. What Kwame didn't know was that he was not alone. Just below the surface of the water, hidden among the reeds, Mirembe watched him with eyes full of curiosity and concern. She had seen the storm coming, had felt the river's fury building, and she had known that the young fisherman was in danger. Mirembe had always been fascinated by humans, but she had kept her distance, watching them from the safety of the river's depths. They were strange creatures, so full of life and emotion, so different from the spirits and creatures of the water. But Kwame was different from the others. There was something about him that had drawn her in, something she couldn't quite explain. When she had seen him struggling against the storm, she hadn't hesitated. She had reached out, pulling him from the water's grasp and carrying him to the shore. She had lingered there for a moment, watching him as he lay unconscious on the sand, before retreating to the river, unsure of what she had just done. Mirembe knew the rules of the river, knew that she was forbidden from interfering in the lives of humans. But she couldn't help herself. There was something about Kwame, something that had stirred a feeling in her heart that she hadn't felt in a long time, a feeling of connection, of longing. As she watched him now, she wondered what it was about this human that had made her break the rules. And as Kwame righted his boat and prepared to return to his village, Mirembe silently vowed to keep watching over him, to understand this strange pull she felt toward him. But deep in her heart, she knew that she was already crossing a line, and that the consequences of her actions might be more than she could bear. Story to be continued. Make sure to like and subscribe so you will not miss out from the continuity. Thanks for watching.